Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, in association with Simco Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I would start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, listen, what mistakes do we make as an industry, though, when we get that top salesperson and we just promote them into that leadership role? What mistakes do you see that leader makes all the time?
I was that leader once upon a time. I thought because I was a good salesperson and I sold a lot of cars, I'd naturally be a great leader. And I wasn't. I was not a great leader. Far from it, actually. And I do see that happening. We have dealerships, dealer groups that get their best salesperson, put them into a leadership role, and within a year, they're performance managing them as a sales manager or a business manager because they're not doing it. More often than not, that's the fault of the dealer or the dealer group because that's been allowed to happen. Because I'm a huge believer in growing our own as a dealer group. Because when you see your own pipeline of people and you see the talent and the determination and the jacks of this world, you want to get them onto your leadership development program as early as possible. You want to make sure that they see you're invested in them. You want to make them feel that they're in a long-term career plan and the two parties are committed to each other, and that you'll support that person in their growth and development. And naturally, they'll be therefore much more ready when the time comes for them to take their first leadership role. They'll have the mindset of a leader. They'll have the skill set of a leader pre-installed before the role occurs. Now, that's not to say putting somebody into a role without doing that is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is when it's done without any development work, you are betting on red or black. If it's going to work or not.
I suppose I'm listening. Jack got to the 200 club. Absolutely brilliant.
Later, yeah.
But actually, if he focused just on the speak to more people, second face everyone, if he just did this, selling 200 a year, that's probably not going to help him get the rest of his team up to where he needs to be when he becomes a sales manager.
Exactly that. Now, as it happens, Jack in particular, he did take part in a leadership development program.
Yeah.
And he is a general manager for a top 3 AM100 dealer group now. So he's very successful.
But it wouldn't be just those things. Forget all the training. It's actually he would have had to learn all the next bit.
He had to learn everything. But my point with Jack was...
He took his mindset with him, didn't he?
He brought with him that day a sportsman-style winning mindset on day one. And he was like, teach me, tell me. And I'm like, right, slow down. Here's some real basics just to get you to sort of tune on some thoughts. But we are going to train you for 14 weeks on how to be a great salesperson.
I often see top salespeople going back to that question. And this is why I ask it. They're a great salesperson. They end up being a sales manager. Okay. And they get so frustrated because they think that the salesperson's done everything that they've done. They think that the salespeople, the rest of the team, have qualified people properly. They think or assume that they've actually got the right bum in the right seat because they know they did. They assume that the salespeople are following up everyone till they buy or die because they did. It's not realizing that actually, Jack, you're in this role at the moment because you were doing all those different things that actually the 5-car Fred is not doing. So the leadership has to go back to inspect what they expect. And I remember so many people getting frustrated that I can't believe it. I come out and second face the customer, but they're on the wrong car. They haven't qualified properly because they haven't done the bits that the top salesperson does without even thinking. In fact, I'll go one stage further. Sometimes I think the top salesperson doesn't even realize why they're the top person. They just do that.
They just do it.
Almost on autopilot with top sales people. They end up becoming managers and they're doing stuff to be a top salesperson they haven't even thought about anymore. You've got to break it down in the intricate parts of what they actually did there. That's always my concern with that top salesperson
Yeah.
thrown into that leadership role.
Yes.
And I say to them, you've got to break it down into what made you a top salesperson to start with.
Yeah.
Think about it. Don't do it on autopilot, so to speak.
Yeah. So the greatest sales managers are the ones that can identify in their team where the gaps in performance exist and understand why and work with the person to fix it. That's when you've got a real skilled leader.
Can I almost be controversial now? The top sales manager for me is never been that top salesperson that hit it from day one. You get that top salesperson that hit it from day one and they just sell because they sell instinctively and they can't teach it. What I find top sales managers and dealer principals was the salesperson started, struggled a bit, had to work out what they're doing wrong, learnt how to fix it. I'll tell you what, that's the dealer principal. That's the head of business. That's the sales manager. For me, is always a superstar. They've seen both sides of it. Okay?
Absolutely.
They know how to teach it. What I'm guessing at is, I bet a Lewis Hamilton would probably be one of the worst people to teach someone how to drive a racing car very quickly, because he probably does it without even knowing what he does.
Yeah.
Don't know. I've never had the privilege of sitting down with a Lewis Hamilton or a Max Verstappen, but I'm guessing they might not be the best people to teach someone because they have it instinctively.
Yes. Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So listen, let's dig into this, okay? How do you deal with a high performance though? You mean they're selling the 250 a month, okay? But they do it by damaging the wider culture of the team.
Okay.
There's a salesperson that sells really well, but they do it by keeping everyone else down. Someone listening to this, they've probably got Johnny. He's your top person there. He's doing really well, but he does it by wrecking the team, the culture.
Yeah.
How do if I'm that manager listening to this podcast now, how do I deal with that situation?
Well, I think the most important part of dealing with that is identifying that it exists. I've worked in a number of sites and dealer groups where there is that person in a team, a toxic high performer, big units with the ego, with all the problems that go with it and customer satisfaction, etc. And quite often that person is left to their own devices because the leadership team are too afraid of challenging and losing that person. For me, if I had a person like that in my team, I would call it out. I wouldn't call it out in an aggressive way or in a nasty way. I would want to get talking to them about it. And it comes back to the point I made earlier about dialogue, culture, and consistent one-to-ones. In the consistent one-to-ones, you can start to bring up the concerns about behavior, ego, customer complaints, and other things, whilst keeping it on a pleasant footing, but beginning to call it out and being explicitly clear that longer term, we're not going to tolerate it. And it takes me back, this example that you've given, a good 18 years or so. I worked in a BMW dealership and there was a salesperson there who was very much like that. A new GSM came in and part of company with this salesperson in the first few days. They had a couple of blowouts over a few things.
And he was the top person they fell out with.
Yeah, they let go of the top person straight away. And I remember, like, a period of time later, I was talking to him about it. I says, I was amazed when you let him go about this. And he went, did the dealership sell any less cars? No, they didn't. The reason why is the same amount of inquiries were still coming into the funnel, and they were getting spread out equally between the rest of the team. All that was happening before was that person was gobbling up all their inquiries, burning quite a few, and dealing a lot. And then walking around like a bigger character than they should have been.
And also, I see, sorry, I'm cutting you off again there, but so often the quality of their deals weren't the best from that top person. You get that. And not all the time. I got to say, sometimes, and that's not a blanket statement there, but I know of a particular example as well where the top guy weren't selling value-added products at all. the profit went out the window, working harder on the manager than
Yeah.
anyone else, allowed
Yeah.
to stack their own deals because he's brilliant. He knows what he's doing there. But when you look at the trade losses, they're all his deals.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, who's
And the mountain up. Yeah. Yeah.
there's management, there's leadership, and just letting the tail wag the dog, which
Absolutely that. Yeah. Yeah. It is something that needs to be called out. In fact, I'd argue that, the salesperson that's underperforming, who we need to have the empathetic conversation with, and the explicit accountability conversation with, it's just as important, if probably not more important, to call out the toxic high performer as another issue, just as much as an underperformer,
yeah.
because both of those people are causing their own dynamic problems within the team. The low performer sets an expectation to the rest of the team that, well, they're accepting six deals a month from them. Oh, it must be okay then. And then the guy at the top who's selling all these other cars, or guy or girl that's selling all these other cars, and all these customer complaints are coming in,
Yeah.
and the low F&I performance and all the other things that can come with it. It's just making sure that the quality's there and the whole team feels equal and supported. That's great leadership.
So listen, what do your non-negotiable standards look like for you on a day-to-day basis in a dealership environment?
Show up, don't turn up. Show up with intent. Talk to every customer that you possibly can with intent, not because you're going for lunch in 10 minutes and you're just checking it's not a mystery shopper. Speak to every customer with intent. Involve a manager as early as possible, and definitely before every test drive. And an expectation of a management team. If I was a general manager, I would be extremely disappointed to see a mystery shop survey come in and discover that there wasn't a second phase done. That should never happen. It should be a first phase before a drive, second phase to offer, and that every single customer who's a walk-in, we don't offer them a test drive. We signpost them towards a test drive. For example, like this, Simon, my manager, Peter's working on the numbers now for you. He's doing some part exchange research on your car. It's going to take about 20 minutes for him to get the research done properly and put all the numbers together. So in the meantime, I've got the car at the front door ready now. It's got trade plates on it. What we're going to do is we're going to go for a drive while he's putting the numbers together. Sounds good, doesn't it? Take the customer for a drive.
So that's one of your non-negotiable standards that you
Absolutely.
want to every day.
Absolutely. If the customer says, no, I do not want to drive it, no problem. No conflict. But we do want to say, look, we're working on your numbers. Let's go for a drive while. Takes pressure off the management team to get a good part exchange underwrite, get a solid set of figures put together with some funding options, put some value-added options in there based on the customer's needs, and put a quality offer in front of the customer instead of a regal king size, their car, our car, black horse settlement, whatever. Gives us a chance to put together a professional offer. When we get back from the drive, we definitely want to make sure it's the right car for the customer before we go in and arm wrestle over the wrong numbers on the wrong car. We get a manager involved at the offer stage, and the customer has a great experience. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but they're just basic things. The customer's feet are on the tiles in the showroom. Let's get the customer out for a drive while we work on the numbers and put together a professional offer every time.
Okay, so talk about leadership. How should I respond as a sales manager, after sales manager, when that performance dips without defaulting into blame, okay, micromanagement? Bear in mind, we're talking about leadership today, not management. Okay. What should I do so I'm not dipping into that blame culture?
Well, I think the first thing, you've used a very powerful word in that question there, Simon. You've used the word micromanagement. And micromanagement is the enemy of motivation for everybody. So really, we want to avoid anything remotely close to micromanagement as far as we possibly can. But we definitely want to make sure that expectation and accountability is always present in the sales team. And if the performance is beginning to fall away, let's start a talk with the team about why. Not tell, let's ask the team. Diane, you've only sold 6 cars so far this month. What do you think's going well? This, and this. So why do you think we're struggling a little bit? And get the team talking. They'll come up with some rubbish as well. There'll be some excuses. But in amongst all of the noise, there will be, well, actually, Bob, the business manager, he doesn't second face any of my customers. Really? You never said anything about that before. Yeah, well, he doesn't. Okay, right. Now that's a blame from the salesperson, but it's definitely something I want to write in my little notebook to check.
Mm,
Is the leadership team definitely second facing? Is the second facing that we think we have in place actually definitely really there and in place? And is it effective?
mm,
Because whilst that might be a salesperson panicking and blaming, it's also a clue to look somewhere. We're not going to get Bob straight in and say why you're not second facing customers, but I am going to quietly observe. So you can find out very useful information by talking to your team. It's all about dialogue. It's all about that open flow we talked about earlier, culturally a safe space. If a person is underperforming, do they feel safe to come in and say, Simon, I'm panicking here. I've only got 6 deals on this month. What am I doing wrong? That
mm,
is not a weak salesperson. That is a strong salesperson. It's a gift that they've done that. Let's embrace it, right? Let's sit down. Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's talk about it.
mm,
What do you think's going well? Yes, X, Y, Z. What do you think could be going better? You'll find out
mm.
millions of things about your own team from within the team when they feel safe enough to tell you about the problems in the team. Yes, there'll be a load of crap in there and blame. Cut the noise of that aside. It'll give you some clues as to what other things to look for.
Yeah, I suppose that micromanagement, to challenge that, and we're playing devil's advocate again there. You said that
Yeah.
micromanagement is the one thing that will demotivate people, and I've definitely been on the back end of that as well.
Mhm.
However, you look at leaders like, I don't know, if we go to the man Steve Jobs,
Mhm.
was renowned for micromanaging everything. Elon
Mhm.
Musk, apparently, he would micromanage everything at the moment.
Mhm. Mhm.
Cordwell from Phones for You, he'll talk about retail is in the detail there.
Mhm.
So how do I separate micromanagement where I'm demotivating people and
Mhm.
still having that retail's in the detail, inspecting what I expect? It's
Okay,
such a balancing act, isn't it?
it is. Let's think about before in a past podcast we talked about we're drowning in data. We've got a
Mm,
KPI for everything. We've got league tables for everything, and it's about simplifying what's in that information, understanding what that data is telling us,
mhm,
so we get back to a brilliant at the basics level. And do we then understand? Does our team understand what brilliant at the basics looks like? And then we go through, tell me, show me, let me, coach me. And we're going back to that process of the performance isn't what it should be. But if we go back to the basics, here's why.
mm,
Now, what I want you to do is, and I'll show you how to do it. Watch, I'll pick up the phone, I'll speak to your customer, and just lead the team, show the team, let the team have their own go, but quietly listen in and inspect what you expect. And then you'll see where it is going well and where it maybe isn't going well
mm. Okay.
without micromanaging.
So let's talk about the pressure though. The shit is going to flow downhill, as they
Mhm.
say. We're going to get pressure from senior management.
Yeah,
That's the target. That's what we need. That's always going to happen.
yeah,
And I do see the different leaders out there. Someone once told me years ago that you get the amplifying manager. When the
yes,
crap comes from above,
yeah,
they'll say, "Oh, I've just had my ass kicked for this. You need to get this sorted, blah, blah,
yeah,
blah." Okay. You
yeah.
get the sieve manager where the shite comes from above and it flows directly on their team. But haven't we all seen the manager that's the umbrella manager? When the
Yeah.
pressure comes from above, the shite comes from above, they
Hmm.
almost have the umbrella to protect their team and it's us against the world. And that
Hmm.
great manager, when it comes from the top, they almost like protect their team. And that's where
Hmm.
they get people wanting to run through walls for them. So, strong leaders, how do they manage the pressure that's always going to come from the OEM senior management without passing it directly onto their team destructively?
Okay. So it comes back again to that point I made about explicitness.
Mm,
Your target this month, Simon, is,
mm,
and why it's a must achieve number. So we've started by setting expectation, and we will follow it later with accountability. And you can do both of those things without it being destructive if the culture in the business is right. If a team is turning up or showing up, is the difference to that. So if that team knows what's expected, it's clear what's expected, they're explicitly clear, and they've got a manager that they'd run through walls for. When that manager does have a tough conversation from an area or an operations person, that manager can get the team together and say, guys, we're a bit behind. Here's where we're at. Here's where we need to go. Can I have your commitment to a better set of numbers and challenge people for a greater level of commitment over the coming weeks to catch it up? One really powerful thing about mindset, sportsmanship, is a clip I seen in a movie called Any Given Sunday. And I'm sure you might be familiar with it. It's a great movie. And in that movie, and I use this video from time to time with a team where I see a certain mindset. And I'll play this 3-minute video clip. It's on YouTube. And it's Al Pacino is the head coach of an American football team. They're in a crunch game, a make or break sponsorship deal level type game. They have to win, or there's a lot at stake if they don't. It's half time. They are badly losing, and that team is deflated when they walk into that dressing room. And this video lasts 3.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes. And I often ask the people in the room, look, watch this video with me. Nobody speak. Let's listen intently. And I'll keep wiggling the mouse so you can see the timer at the bottom of how much time has passed. And I want you to write down a time in your notebook where you see the body language of the audience or his team change. It's about 2 minutes. Without spoiling it for anybody listening in who hasn't seen it, he talks about his life, he talks about his shortcomings, he talks about his failures. He then talks about the importance of the game. He then talks about the importance of teamwork and the importance of team spirit, helping each other. He talks about going the extra inch in every play of the game. And he starts to talk about marginal gains. And literally 2.5 minutes in, you start to see this deflated team of big, tough American football guys getting up and getting fired up. And by the end, they are screaming with excitement to get out. And I'll let you guess what happens in the second half of that game. But what I've always said to any leadership team, what I've done mindset stuff with or performance coaching with, your morning meeting can destroy a team in 2 minutes, and it can completely transform what looks like a deflated team into a winning team in 2 minutes. How you speak to them, how you address them, how you motivate them in that 2 minutes can make or shape your entire day. As cheesy as it sounds, it literally can. So we need that team to leave a morning meeting feeling energized, supported, and clear of what challenge lies ahead, because they're explicitly clear of what's needed of them.
Yeah.
And especially if you've created a team that will run through walls for you, they are going to go downstairs and they're going to get that result.
That for me, that's leadership. Having a team that will run through walls for you.
Yes.
Listen, how do we keep the teams though remain focused when the target feels unrealistic or the market turns? Now, I don't want to be negative now. Reminds me of Zig Ziglar said once his son come home from school, said, "Dad, I think I failed the maths test." He said, "Son, that's negative. I need you to be positive." He thinks for a minute and says, "Okay, Dad, I'm positive I failed my maths test." Okay. But listen, if the market turns, okay, we've got these targets which feel unrealistic. Okay. How do you keep your team stay focused? And this is definitely about mindset. It's a tough one. Okay. How do you keep them up and on when you've got the whole team thinking this is not achievable? Okay. How do you do that? You see the sporting analogies, okay, where I don't know, you've got the Ashes for the cricket lovers out there. Okay, you've got people watching a rugby league grand final, and there's a clear winner halfway through. Don't you see the other team? They drop their heads. You see it go, don't you?
You see it. You do.
Any advice do you have when a sales team drop their head when they feel that the target's unrealistic now?
I think the first thing, and this sounds really, really obvious, but for any leader, the most important thing to do is sense it. The amount of times I've walked into a dealership and you can just feel an unpleasant energy in the air, and you think, you're going to get a feeling for how the day might turn out. And as you start to speak to the leadership team, let's assume it's a leadership team I know well. How's it going? Oh, not great. Why is that then? Well, because how's the team feeling? Don't know. Have you had a look outside? They go at the door. They come back in. Oh, you're right. because they're there in it all day, every day, we're a lot less sensitive to it. I walk in, oh, everybody's a bit flat in here today.
The Grim Reapers
Let's
walk
get
through.
them.
You feel like it.
Let's get them all in. Let's get them revved up. Come on, let's make sure everybody's feeling on top of it. It's not easy to do it. Let's make no mistake about it. But
especially if they don't think it's achievable. That's back to that belief. Is that mindset, isn't it?
It really is. What Al Pacino achieved in that dressing room, he took a team of people that felt they were beaten and turned them into a team of people that realized if they just push for the extra inch in every play of the game, the marginal gains will overcome the opposing team's lead. And they believed him. And they ran through walls for him. They came together as a team. All we've got to do is get the whole team to believe, get them excited, and let's start thinking about what small actions can we take today that are going to make tomorrow look better. The first thing I'll always say is, have we spoke to tomorrow's service department customers yet? It's the easiest opportunity when things are getting tight and things are getting slow. And every time we do a renewal deal with a customer in the service department, that's 8 to 9 revenue streams when we do it.
So what hard truths about performance and mindset do people in the motor trade really need to hear, but they often resist?
Look at what I would say is look at training people and training companies. Look at divisional people and central people from your dealer group as people that are there to be enablers. If someone's coming to your dealership to spend time with you and your team, they are there to add value. They are there to help. Yes, they might be there to challenge you, but we shouldn't fear challenge. We should just fear the lack of action that causes us to fail.
Yeah. And it's that outside pair of eyes, isn't it? Isn't it quite funny? It's for the ladies listen to this, it's something that definitely happens in men. When it's kind of, you get a 5-year-old boy, he sits there and thinks, Daddy knows everything. When you become 10 years old, you sit there and think, oh, maybe Mummy knows more than Daddy. When you get to 15, you sit there and think, Dad's a bit thick. When you get to 20, you think, Dad knows nothing. But then something happens. When you get to 25, you start thinking, I wonder what Dad would do. When you get to 35, you think, oh, I'll just ask Dad how he would do it. You get to 45 and you sit there and you think, I wish I could ask Dad how he would do it. Okay.
Well, my little girl's 11. I can totally vouch for you on that.
Well, I know for boys we go through. I don't know about girls though. But it's the same thing here with outside as an agency. When we turn up there, it's a fresh set of eyes. And sometimes the managers are seen as mom and dad. And you have the sales teams sit there and thinking, hey, mom and dad don't know everything. Sometimes if we say exactly the same thing that the manager will be saying, it works. It has more impact.
Massively so, yeah.
It really does there. Really does. Listen, in finishing up, because we could talk about this all day long, okay? If there's one change, one leadership habit across the industry that we could change tomorrow, what would it be and why?
It comes back a lot to what I said earlier in the podcast, Simon. It's about understanding people. Leadership in any industry, not just our industry, but understanding our people at a greater depth, understanding their knowledge levels, their confidence levels, their motivation levels. What makes your team tick? Once you start to understand your team at a deeper level, because there'll be people out there that already do this very well anyway, but if you understand them at a deeper level tomorrow than you did today, you've got a far greater understanding of what things that they need support with, what things they need challenged with. I remember being a salesperson, I needed to be pushed every day to perform at my very, very best. I already was motivated, but to be absolutely elite level, I needed to be pushed every day. And every single person in your team, regardless of what department they're in, is different and unique and individual. And if we're not closely connected to them, there's things that we don't know that we definitely would have to our advantage if we did.
All right. Listen, Neil, thank you again for this. I really appreciate it. Listen, reach out to Neil, Neil Carrahar at simcotraining.co.uk. It's a nice, easy email address there. Okay. Go and listen to us on our LinkedIn podcast. Okay. So LinkedIn, find us on LinkedIn podcast. I should say that. Find us on LinkedIn there. okay, reach out to Neil, reach out myself, and we'll talk about leadership and motivation and belief. And you know what? So much of what we do in training, it's not just the words that work. It's actually getting that mindset right first as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot for that, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Simon.
That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.